You know what your problem is? I ain't got no problem, man. Don't tell me. Don't tell me what my problem is.
Throughout the years, fans saw Scrappy's turbulent journey, which featured highs and lows in his career and relationships with his family, play out on television. The way Scrappy's activities would eventually damage his reputation was unavoidable. Love and Hip Hop Atlanta featured Scrappy for many years. He was well known for his intense anger and loyalty to his close friends. Everything began with a particularly heated argument with a disorganized and erratic cast member, known for his bold demeanor and propensity to cause problems, who was never afraid to express his opinions, got into a little argument with Scrappy that swiftly got out of hand. Accusations and remarks quickly turned what began as a disagreement into a full-fledged conflict. When the Scrappy's promised destruction with more than just words when he was upset, Scrappy was on the edge of losing it because he had a very short fuse. The tone was ominous, and the words themselves had little meaning. Scrappy's threats were ultimately what would kill them, but the two men's rambling comments just made the situation more tense. Producers and staff were surprised that this wasn't just another unpleasant argument when they noticed the man had crossed the pew behind the cameras. The time it took was little. While the Love and Hip Hop series has always been a drama and turmoil, there were boundaries and a zero-tolerance policy for violence and threats. But Scrappy's anger soon went beyond those limits, the authorities said. Despite losing his job, Scrappy, one of the most recognizable characters on the show, was not immediately let go. Was swift a factor? Hip hop and love since the beginning, Atlanta has been a major part of Scrappy's career. Everything that had been on display on the stage, his life, his music, and his complex relationships with his family, was now in danger. A careful evaluation of the potential impacts on the show's reputation, as well as the safety of the actors and staff, led to a conclusion. Supporters were divided when the information surfaced. Some were upset at Scrappy for being stubborn and causing instability. Scrappy's loss of employment was more than just the end of a TV show. It was a reminder of his rage and his inability to manage it. Nonetheless, some perceived the show's hasty decision as an example of the fine line reality stars typically walk between entertainment value and human consequences. In the upcoming days, give it your all attention. Scrappy thought over what he had done for a long time while sitting in quiet. In public, he had always come across as self-assured and fearless, but in backstage life, he had actually harmed himself, which had harmed his career. Although he was still on the show in spite of the criticism, his altercation with Scrappy remained in the event continued despite Scrappy's absence, which was the first in a long time. He had learned a hard but essential lesson, and now the anger that had protected him stood in the way of his success. Taking down his post about hip-hop and love,
I probably went too hard or something, took something the wrong way or something like that, you know? So I want to say, I'm sorry to Khaotic, you know what I mean? We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. But not. Because I can give a Because let me tell you something. When a motherfucker go with me and he feel like I'm not a good person, I feel the same way Khaotic feels. So we on the same page.
No, but he does not feel that way.
He just said it. He said, hey, if you feel like I'm not a good person in your life, then you need to stay like that and I'm gonna stay like that. And we don't stand on it.
No!
Let's stand on it.
No!
We don't stand on it.
No, he does not. Scrap, he did not say that.
What I said was, if you feel like I'm a bad person to you, then
Okay, but this is not about that right now. This is about you. How do you feel about him?
I never said I had a problem with him.
No, do what he do. Do what he do. He say something crazy, and he be like, "Oh, I ain't got no beef. I ain't got no love."
Khaotic always trying to play a victim. He'll start some then he want to be like, I don't want no beef, man. If you got an issue, stand on it. If not, sit down and shut up, bro.
At the end of the day, like I said, bro, it don't even really matter.
Cuz gonna try to goddamn, he want everybody like, oh my God.
No, because we're so grown, we're supposed to make an assessment of our own thoughts here.
I be watching Cuz, I be like, oh.
Okay, so wait.
You know what your problem is?
I ain't got no problem, man.
You had a million times to do it. Why you get on TV to do it? You on TV, man?
You a clown.
You got a problem with me? Keep talking that boy.
There were ups and downs in Scrappy's profession and family relationships, but nothing could have predicted the day when his actions would expose him to shame. A particularly aggressive altercation with a tense cast member who had never been scared to speak up was the beginning of the argument. A boisterous, rowdy man had voiced his disagreements and ended up clashing with Scrappy over a little issue that swiftly grew into a major one. As accusations and yells were exchanged, a conversation swiftly turned into a full-fledged fight. Who had always been prone to losing his anger, and he was on the verge of doing so as the stress level rose. The two guys squabbled bitterly, but Scrappy's threats would ultimately result in his death. When he was angry, he employed phrases that were more than just words. His tone was one of dread. By nature, there were extremely few opportunities for innovation. When the producers and staff realized that this was not just another tense dispute, but rather a man who had gone too far, they were horrified.
Whole time, he the one who called me out my name, disrespecting me, talking gangster. I never talked gangster. I never threatened him. I don't play no victim. I just don't do all that fake gangster talking and all that there. You came at me talking gangster. First of all, if I say anything slick or say anything crazy out my mouth, I got the right to anyway.
The action behind the cameras was fast-paced. A zero-tolerance policy for violence and threats was part of the love and hip-hop brand, even though reality TV has long been marketed as drama and turmoil. They quickly came to a decision since Scrappy's diatribe had gone too far. One of the most popular characters on the show, Scrappy, lost his job. Even as she wasn't dismissed right away, Swift gave the hip-hop and love a lot of thought before making her choice. Atlanta has had a significant role in his career since the first Scrappy episode. His music, his life, and his complex relationships with his family had all been on exhibit on the platform, but now a moment of weakness had put everything in danger. Fans were shocked to learn about the news, and several were angry at Scrappy for getting angry and hurting people. The reputation of the program and the safety of the actors and staff may have been severely damaged. But in the days that followed, Scrap's firing served as a reminder to some of the price he paid for his rage and his incapacity to control himself during a passionate moment, which infuriated them. He also mirrored reality stars' often precarious balance between entertainment and personal risks. Scrappy paused to think about what he had just done and remained silent. When it was revealed that he had injured himself behind the scenes, his career suffered. His public persona had always been one of bluster and confidence. Khaotic and Scrappy's hostility remained in the background, even though he kept appearing on the show in spite of the break. The show will continue without Scrappy, even though he was no longer the major character for the first time in a long time. Now the anger that had protected him was impeding his achievement, and the lesson was difficult but necessary. His role in hip-hop and the destruction of love